Turn to page 1 in your supplements as you're finding your way in. We'll sing for our return to ourselves. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone gathered here in this room or gathered with us online. We are entering a heavy holiday in heavy times, which perhaps for you may just feel too heavy a load to bear. I get that. But for me, I'm finding it oddly comforting. For the tone and timbre of this holiday are strikingly aligned with the tone and timbre of my soul at this time. Which means for one full day, I have full permission to be exactly as I am. to feel exactly as I feel. Whereas for the last 369 days, I've been asked to perform, to still move through this world as if it's not crumbling beneath my feet. Today, I get to be exactly as I am. And today, we get to be exactly as we are. Brokenhearted, hurting, angry, guilty, ashamed, defeated, terrified, in utter agony. We get to be all of this and more without pretense. Perhaps you've been feeling one or all or none of these emotions every day for the last 369 days. But for 369 days, we've been asked to feel at least a part of it alone. Today, we get to feel all of it together. Almost all of Yom Kippur liturgy is in the first person plural. For all that we have done, we are guilty. Have mercy on us. So today, I thank you all for choosing to be a part of our we. Thank you for bringing your broken hearts, your missed marks, the parts of you that are ready to admit your wrongs, and the parts of you that may never feel ready. We need you. We need us. I will say that one traditional part of this holiday is fasting. In the Talmud, there's a debate about whether one who is sick should fast on Yom Kippur, which turns into a debate about the debate. Who should ultimately make the decision about whether a person should fast? Should it be what they call a rofeh, a healer, a physician, or the person themselves? The rabbis go back and forth, but they ultimately decide that a person should decide for themselves because Lev Yodea Marat Nafsho, the heart knows the bitterness of its own soul, meaning you know what's best for your body and your soul. Choose accordingly. There are so many ways to fast other than restricting food intake. You can fast from social speech, you can fast from negative self-talk, you can fast from technology use, because ultimately fasting is not about self-denial, it's about a shinui, a change, something to disrupt the normalcy and reorient us to what is important. So choose the disruption that your soul needs in this time. My body and soul knows that I will not be able to serve as your shaliach, your shepherd, through these next 25 hours without water. So you may see me drinking water from the bima at times. I appreciate your understanding, and may it serve as a model of pekuach nefesh, a model of preservation of life in these times. And speaking of taking care of your bodies, a reminder that we are asking folks in attendance at this gathering to either mask or have tested negative for COVID-19 so that we may all remain safe. There is mask-only seating in the front of the room if that is what you are needing as well. And with that, we will enter into our Yom Kippur service. And I would love to invite up Angelique and Bodhi to read a poem for you all, a poem that was created by knitting together the words of members of this community about the community we are and about the community we hope to be. Thank you, Angelique and Bodhi.
We are a diverse community. We are an unfinished community.
This is a prayer of both reality and aspiration, praise and supplication, who we are and who we aspire to be as a community.
Let's all welcome and honor one another, observant Jews and secular Jews, non-Jews, lovers of God and atheists, those who pray in Hebrew and those who pray in English, and those who don't pray, those who identify as Zionists or anti-Zionists or non-Zionists, or those who have no relationship to Zionism, students of all ages.
Agnostics, atheists, secular humanists, people uncomfortable with God language and imagery, those who do not believe in the traditional God of Judaism, who do not believe in an external God at all, but a spiritual force within us and permeating the universe.
Those struggling with mental health and or addiction issues, including suicidal thoughts, and their family and friends.
Refugees from war and refugees from oppression, immigrants and migrants, legal and illegal, people of all sexual orientations, people of all colors.
All of humanity.
Everyone with a soul, all who are trying more or less successfully to be fully who they are and to honor others for being fully who they are. Everyone who has made a mistake. Everyone who is at times uncertain.
Our new members.
Our longtime members.
Young and old.
Those who have everything to give back to this community.
Those who have nothing to give.
If you feel that we as a community are too supportive of Palestinians, if you feel that we as a community are too supportive of Israel, if you feel like we as a community talk about what is happening there too much or too little, or that your voice is not welcome in the conversation, if you haven't found your voice yet, or it is cracking or ever changing,
if you feel that we, as a community, are not doing enough to combat injustice in the world, to take responsibility for our part in that justice, or injustice, if you want more from our community.
if your heart is broken, if you feel numb and shut down, if you are on fire with rage, if you feel hopeless, if the world feels like too much, if you don't know what to do anymore, if you are longing to be in a collective dream of the world to come, if you are seeking sustenance for the long haul.
If you are here, but you don't know how to connect with the intentions of the day. If you are currently engaged in a process of teshuvah with someone. If your heart is opening and softening in forgiveness. If your heart is hardening or being hardened. If you are ready, may never feel ready, to forgive. If you are not sure what it means to forgive. If you wonder what it would be like to forgive just a little bit more.
Know that you are welcome here as your perfectly imperfect self in this perfectly imperfect community. Know that we sometimes fail one another, but we will always strive to do better.
Thank you so much, you two, making me tear up. So as we enter this ceremony here tonight, I want to engage in a first step of teshuvah and acknowledge that we are holding this ritual on unceded and stolen land of the Yalamo Ramatush Ohlone peoples. While a land acknowledgement is not enough to make right the harms caused to the Ohlone people over centuries, and that continues to be caused to the Ohlone peoples to this day, it's a first step without which accountability is not possible. So may this acknowledgement serve as the first step toward our community's commitment to repairing the harm caused to the indigenous peoples of this land, a harm from which, whether we like it or not, we are benefiting. And if you want to learn and do more in this realm, please join us for the opening night of Sukkot, where we'll talk about what it means to be good guests on indigenous land. So grounding ourselves in place and grounding ourselves in the very first act of teshuvah, of accountability, we'll invite in Yom Kippur. I'd love to invite up Hilton to come and light what are both our Shabbat and our Yom Kippur candles this evening. And the candle lighting blessing can be found on page 688. It's a bit of a mouthful because we're welcoming in two really sacred days at once. Hilton is one of the founding members of our community, and we're so grateful that he's here to light our candles this evening. Page 688. Sure. not quite lit yet. We often have to try time and time again before we get it right. Watch out for your finger, though. Beautiful. Yeah. Call in the light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivan להדליק נר של שבת ביום הכיפורים. You help. We have arrived. So kind of one last moment of orientation before we dive deep into Kol Nidre is I notice many of you are already doing it. But we don't usually wear a tallis at night, only in the morning on every other day but today. Why? So there's a story in the Talmud that states that when the divine taught Moses the prayer of the 13 attributes that we'll be singing later on, Adonai, Adonai, etc., the divine kind of came down from the heavenly realm to teach Moshe this prayer. But because there's this idea that no one can actually see the divine directly and live, the divine wrapped themselves in a prayer shawl, in a tallis, in order to model how to do this prayer, but do so in a way that was safe for us to witness and replicate. And so I think of this midrash when I think about why we are donning a tallis in the evening. And so I invite you, if you've not yet put on your tallis, or if you want to put it on one more time, we'll turn to page 690. You have the blessing for putting on the tallis. And we enrobe ourselves, we wrap ourselves in protection. You know, this night of all nights, we might need a little bit more protection and safety because we're going to be doing some really hard work together. And so we say together, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahitatef batzitzit. May you know throughout the next 25 hours that this tallis, this prayer shawl, is here to protect you, to keep you safe, to comfort you. I think that the tzitzit make great fidgets, and so if you're feeling dysregulated in any way, know that you have this garment to guide you through. So our first opening, what we're all here for, Kol Nidre. Yom Kippur is not a time of beating ourselves up for our mistakes, as many believe. Far from it, we start the day with Kol Nidre, a pronouncement declaring that all promises we made, and yet that remain unfulfilled, are nullified. We don't punish ourselves for the ways we fell short. Instead, we immediately begin with self-forgiveness. And while the Sephardi version of Kol Nidre nullifies promises we made between last Yom Kippur and this Yom Kippur, the Ashkenazi version of Kol Nidre nullifies promises that we will make in the coming year, from this Yom Kippur until next Yom Kippur, granting preemptive forgiveness if we don't fulfill our promises. Therefore, in Yom Kippur, we're not ending with forgiveness at the end of the day, we're starting. That's where we're beginning tonight. It's the very foundation of the work that we're doing here together. So for Kol Nidre, I'm going to invite up some special guests. I'd like to invite up Jody Lewitter and Mark Vanderhout. to open the ark for us, and Deborah Franquist and Max Bernstein to hold our Torahs as we chant the words of Kol Nidre. We'll begin with an intention on your supplement sheet on page 1 called Pray, and we'll then turn to page 692 for our opening entry into Kol Nidre. So we'll first sing the intention, and then I'll have you all open the ark. You don't have to believe in God to pray. You don't have to believe all the words you say. You just have to let yourself create a sense of meaning that will saturate your life with depth and centeredness, that will help you feel at home, that will hold you through the dark abyss. Page 692, we rise in body or spirit. Yeah, go ahead. You ready? Maybe come on up here. Stay right here. Beshiva shel mala ubeshiva shel mata al da'at hamakom ve'al da'at ha'kahal anu matirim lahitpalel im havaryonim beshiva shel mala ubeshiva shel mata al da'at hamakom ve'al da'at ha'kahal anu matirim lahitpalel im havaryonim beshiva shel mala ubeshiva shel mata al da'at hamakom ve'al da'at ha'kahal anu matirim lahitpalel im havaryonim. Page 694. Kol Nidre Vesarei Ushvuei Veharamei Vekonamei Vekinusei Vechinuei Deim Darna Udaish Tabana Udaharimna Udiasarna Al Nafshatana Miyom Kippurim Shavar Ad Yom Kippurim Zehaba Aleinu Letova Kulchon Yiharatna Vechon Kulchon Yechon Sharan Shavitim Batelin Umutalin Lasherim Vela Kayamim Nidrana Nidrae Veyasarana Laisare Ushvatana La Shavuot.
Kol Nidre vesare Oshedoe vekarame vekoname vekinose Dindarna udeishtabana udekarina udeasarna al-nafshatana miyom kippurim ad Yom Kippurim Habalenu Letova Bekulhon Ikarat Navahon Kulhon Sharon Shavikim Shavitim Metalin umavutalim Lo sheririn velakayamin Nidrana la nidre Vesarana laisare usvuhatuna lashevot
Page 696. V'nislach l'chol adat b'nei Yisrael, u'lager hagar b'tocham, ki l'chol ha'am bishkaga. Slach na'avon ham hazeh kegodel hasdecha, v'hasher nasata la'am hazeh mimitzrayim v'ad hena, v'sham ne'amar. Vayomer Adonai, salachti kidvarecha again. Vayomer Adonai, salachti kidvarecha again. Vayomer Adonai, salachti kidvarecha. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam. Shehianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. We'll put the Torahs back, but we'll keep the ark open for just one more moment. So if you are able to remain standing in body or spirit, I invite you to do so just a little bit longer as we turn to page 3 in your supplement for Mimamakim. Psalm 130, Out of the Depths. Join in when you catch on. Mimamakim, karaticha, Adonai, mimamakim, karaticha, Adonai, mimamakim, karaticha, Adonai, mimamakim, karaticha, Adonai, Adonai, sim'a bekoli, Adonai, sim'a bekoli, mimamakim, karaticha, Adonai, mimamakim, karaticha, Adonai, Adonai, sim'a bekoli, Adonai, shim'a bekoli. Out of the depths I cried out, and I was heard. We can close the ark, but remain standing for the Baruch Hu, the call to prayer on page 708. You may be seated. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Umavir yom umevi laila umavdil ben yom uben laila Adonai Tzebaot Shemo Hai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Ay, 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 ay. Blessed is the one who brings on the night. We'll turn to page 712 to welcome in. You know, the night can sometimes feel scary, and it's important to remember the abounding love that surrounds us, even in the darkest of times. 712, Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, hukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, b'shofteinu u'b'kumeinu, nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'b'mitzvotecha, le'olam va'ed. Ki hem hayenu le'orech yameinu, le'orech yameinu, u'bahem neged yomam v'layla, yomam v'layla. Ve'ahavtecha lo tasor mimenu le'olamim. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. We are surrounded by love. With those words in mind, I would like to invite up two very special guests. Lisa Garbus, our president, amongst other things, to give a kavanah, and Kol, who will help us in leading prayer after Lisa tells us a story.
I'm honored to be called up with Kol. Thank you for your leadership with the Vahafta. Before I read my reflection on the Shema, I want to tell you that the Shema is on page 714. You can turn to page 714 and hold on to it for a moment. After my reflection, we'll say the Shema together. Today, we'll also say out loud the line after the Shema line. The Baruch Shem Kavod line is normally whispered to ourselves, but on Yom Kippur we say it aloud. Rabbi Farron explained last year that saying this line aloud and proud brings us a little closer to the divine, a little closer to holiness. When we say the Baruch Shem Kavod line aloud tonight, maybe we can think about something that we are more comfortable whispering or saying only to ourselves. What would it be like to say that thing aloud and proud? What would it be like to get closer in that way to our own truth, our own holiness? I think that's one way to think about what my grandmother did in the story I'm about to tell. My grandmother was 27. She was holding a bag, and she was holding my mother, who was 2. It was 1942 in Piotrków Trybunalski, Poland. They were on a firing squad line, about to be shot with 4 other women and 1 other child. I return to that firing squad moment every time I hear the Shema, or say it, or watch my daughters say it. I return to that moment because my grandmother said to me, "We were first in line to be shot." I had the Shema on my lips. But they started to shoot from the other end of the line. I dropped my bag, held on to Esther, and ran. She ran into an abandoned building and up to the 3rd floor where they spent the night. It's a long story. I'll jump ahead to say that my grandmother, Naja, lived for 50 more years and died between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur in 1992. How much time do we have before we die? What will we do in that time? When my grandmother thought she had only seconds left, she began to speak the Shema. Why? Was it to pray? To use her last breath to reaffirm her connection to the universe? Or was it an act of defiance, of proudly affirming her identity as Jewish, as other, at the very moment she was being executed for being just that? Was it a goodbye, an acceptance of her imminent death? Or was it a staunch refusal of death? No, not yet. Was it all of those things at once? Did the words of the Shema somehow move from her lips to her feet? Did her prayer help her run? Did it help her hold on to her child? Did the Shema help her live that day and other days? Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. I know there's a lot of commentary about what those words mean. For me, they're about what it means to be human, what it means to be alive in the face of death. They're about what we do with the time we have left, whether that's 5 decades or 5 seconds.
Lisa, so with all of those possible reasons for the Shema in our hearts and in our minds, and with the power of the Shema held close, we will recite the words of the Shema and then the Baruch Shem line aloud, and then Kol will lead us in the Ve'ahavta.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך ובביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם ליוק על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בעיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך uvisharecha.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Cole. We'll continue silently on our own. You can either read biblical selection 1 or 2 on the following pages, culminating on page 722, or you can meditate upon love and upon the words that Lisa shared. Adonai Elohechem Emet. So now I know I spoke earlier about the weight in my heart and the weight of this day and how they are aligned. But according to Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, a first century sage, there is no day as happy for the Jewish people as Yom Kippur. Why? For it's the day we are forgiven. So it may feel misaligned for you to practice joy on such a day or in such a time, but by being in joy, we are breathing life back into this lifeless world. Joy is not just a part of, but a prerequisite to the world that we are dreaming of. So let us bring in joy along with the sorrow with our words of liberation, Mi Chamocha, page 728. 728. Lord a taste of liberation. We'll continue on page 730 or 732 in the transliteration, Hashkivenu, our sweet lullaby of peace. May a canopy of peace be spread over us all. As I mentioned earlier, we don't get just one but two sacred occasions on this day. We are also in Shabbat. Yom Kippur is called Shabbat Shabbatonim, the Shabbat of Shabbats, and it's also Shabbat, so it's, I don't know, I think that's like infinite Shabbats, if that is math. So we'll sing now to welcome in Shabbat, Vishamru, page 734. The way we're going to do it is if you're on this side of the room, try to follow my lead, do what I'm doing, sing what I'm singing if you want. And if you're on this side of the room, follow the lead of our amazing singers here and just beautiful sparkle fingers to our ensemble for creating such magic and beauty up here. And so I'll invite you to rise in body or spirit for Vishamru, page 734. Shabbat Shalom, everyone, a Shabbat of peace. And we'll remain standing, continuing on page 734. We welcome in, we announce the day, we announce that it's Yom Kippur. And, you know, in biblical times, the high priest was the one who was the vessel of atonement for all of us. But today we are both the high priest and the people, the atoner and the atonee, and we have everything we need to heal ourselves. And so we proclaim the day, Ki Vayom, bottom of page 734. Ki Vayom hazeh yichaper alehem litaher etchem mikol hatotehem lifnei Adonai titaru. Again, Ki Vayom hazeh yichaper alehem litaher etchem mikol So we'll transition now, we'll say the Hatzi Kaddish straight into the silent Amidah. The Amidah is always, it changes based on where we are in time, and much of the Amidah on Yom Kippur is confessions. So when we arrive at the Amidah, you can either pray the words that you find on page 739 and onward, or you can take a moment to reflect and engage in the first step of teshuvah, of acknowledging to yourself the harms you have caused in this past year. But first we sing the Hatzi Kaddish, page 736. Page 740, the Amidah. Adonai Safatai Tiftach Ufia Gita Hilatecha. Adonai Safatai Tiftach Ufia Gita Hilatecha. some words of Torah for this Kol Nidre evening. I realized many years ago that I struggle to look people directly in the eyes. But it's so intimate, I was told, that intimacy under the right circumstances should be desirable, or at least safe. But it didn't feel safe. It was enticing, alluring even, yet also utterly terrifying. I could sneak glances out of the corner of my eye or hold partial contact for a few seconds only to look away. But the vulnerability of allowing another to see me fully without pretense, the sense of overwhelm it brought on teetered right on the edge of total system shutdown. That sensation, I believe, is the intended felt sense of Yom Kippur. I feel that we've been led to believe in recent years and contemporary times that the function of religion is to be a balm, to make us feel better, the opiate of the masses, as Karl Marx famously said. And yet why then is that so often not the feeling sense with which we leave a religious experience? Why then is the Torah full of flawed characters and a flawed God doing atrocious things? Why then is so much of the Yom Kippur liturgy seemingly inciting a sense of fear? Because I believe the goal of religion is not pleasure or soothing or sedation. The goal is purposeful discomfort. Over 100 years ago, a German Protestant philosopher, Rudolf Otto, visited a humble Moroccan synagogue on Yom Kippur. It was there that he had his first experience of what he termed the numinous, from which his entire philosophy of religion flowed. Otto is famously known for his pivotal work, The Idea of the Holy, which completely transformed the field of religious studies. In it, he describes the numinous as the excess of the holy which is beyond both morality and rationality. And the primary experience of the numinous, he said, is something he deemed mysterium tremendum. I've been utterly obsessed with the concept of mysterium tremendum since I was an undergrad. It's a term that Otto admits is nothing but a gesture for attempts to explain a feeling state that is beyond language. But it consists of two parts. Mysterium, the hidden and esoteric elements of our universe and of our lived experience that can't be understood, only felt. And tremendum, a metaphorical or perhaps quite literal quaking in the encounter with that mysterium. Mysterium tremendum is like fear but beyond fear, like awe but beyond awe, like terror but less horrifying, like wonder but less euphoric. As Otto cites in his book, I shudder in the sense that I'm unlike it, and I glow in the sense that I am like it. It is the feeling of encountering something wholly other than yourself and simultaneously being enraptured, stupefied, and horrified. It is that feeling you get when you are entirely outside of your comfort zone, terrified yet captivated, left wanting more. In biblical Hebrew, we have a similar term, which Otto acknowledges in his book, and perhaps it's from where his whole philosophy flowed, and this is the term yirah. Yirah contains notes of both fear and awe and everything in between. It is where the term God-fearing comes from, and the directive to fear God. But when we simply translate the word as fear, we are missing the point. Fear, I believe, is a quite human sensation we experience to warn us of impending danger or to help us triumph over danger. Yirah, rather, connotes a hybridized state of awe and fear that leaves us incredibly uncomfortable in the moment we are experiencing it, but which can radically transform us for the better if we would only allow it to do so. I've heard from many people that for them as children, Yom Kippur was utterly terrifying. The image of God sitting on high, judgmental, maybe even a little vengeful. One slip up and we could go directly into the book of death. However, I feel that the religious leaders of old who designed services in that way did so out of a fundamental misunderstanding of the word yirah, of the state of mysterium tremendum, of the goal of the religious experience. In response to this terrifying version of Yom Kippur, God, and Judaism that many of us were raised with, there has been this course correction in liberal Judaisms, from a terrifying God to a loving one, or perhaps to no God at all, just to a sense that all is love, that the undercurrent of the universe is nothing but love. However, I believe this is an overcorrection, for as we know, God is not all good, and the universe is not all good, and to sit in that discomfort and to sit in the discomfort of that truth is what Yom Kippur, and I believe Judaism at large, asks of us. I'll be the first to admit the ways in which I contribute to a culture that asks Judaism to be a balm, to anesthetize us to the pain of the world, that uses prayer or Torah study as some form of escape, to provide uplift in heavy times. For I do sincerely want that for you. Comfort, uplift, joy. But this Yom Kippur, I'm asking something different of you. I'm asking, as Franz Rosenzweig, an early 20th century Jewish theologian, said, to confront the eyes of your judge in utter loneliness, as if you were dead in the midst of life, a member of the human community which, like yourself, has placed itself beyond the grave in the very fullness of living. By this I mean stare into the eyes of that which terrifies you most, your own mortality, your own righteousness or lack thereof, and let yourself quake inside of that honesty. Move outside of yourself and stare into your own eyes with the entirety of your life force as if this is your last chance to do so, as if your life depends on it, and allow the discomfort of what you see to catapult you into the fullness of living. This Yom Kippur, let us allow in Mysterium Tremendum, and let us allow it to transform us. Yom Kippur is a day where pain and agony fill our holy spaces to the rafters in mournful melody. And yet it's not just any pain with which we engage on Yom Kippur. The pain we are immersing ourselves in is our own complicity in the pain of others, which in my opinion is the most painful pain one can experience. I remember years ago asking a former partner to apologize for the ways they had hurt me in our relationship. I told them exactly what I wanted them to apologize for. I just needed to hear them say the words. And they flat out refused. Rather than apologizing, they argued with me, told me that they in fact had not hurt me in the ways that I said, and that all of their actions were justified. I was utterly taken aback and enraged and horrified that someone could be so unaccountable. My ask, I thought, was so simple. That is, until I noticed that when faced with similar asks, I did the exact same thing. Since then, I've paid attention to my reaction when I am told that I've hurt someone, or even when I perceive that I have hurt someone, even if they haven't told me. And let me tell you, I am defensive. Not every time. I've worked hard not to be. But in particular circumstances, with particular accusations, the instinct for self-preservation is so strong that I feel a part of me roar to life that is otherwise entirely dormant. A part of me poised to fight, claws out, mouth snarling. Never do I fight anything harder than when asked to admit that I was wrong. And I think I fight because admitting to myself that I hurt someone I love is the most agonizing sensation in the entire world, and one which I would go to the ends of the earth to avoid. Yom Kippur asks us to take accountability for harm we've caused on personal, interpersonal, and collective scales. And it has us do so by having us admit to this harm aloud again and again and again and again and again. One such prayer that we do this in is the Al-Chet. The traditional Al-Chet is a series of 44 confessions of wrongdoing stated in the first person plural. Al-Chet shachatanu lefanacha, for the wrongs we have done before you. A common drash on this is that we speak in the plural because none of us has committed all of these wrongs alone, but collectively we have, and we are responsible for the collective. But one year when I was feeling particularly guilty, I decided to grapple with each and every one and ask myself, are there ways in which I have engaged in this form of harm this year? Turns out I had, every single one. Being with this truth is painful. The ways it led me to doubt myself and my character was excruciatingly uncomfortable. Yet it also felt cathartic. Taking accountability for the harm I had caused felt like a relief. It felt like the tension I had been holding inside of me released. All of the energy I had been expending to absolve myself of responsibility, even in my own head, it was now free to be directed toward other places. I myself was free through the admission. If some of you know me, one of my favorite things to talk about is Rambam's steps to doing teshuvah, this task of accountability that we're called into in this season. These steps begin with the internal recognition and renunciation necessary to start a teshuvah process and move from there to outward confession and repair. And while it may seem that the work begins once we've spoken aloud the harm, I think 95% of the work is in the first step. It's in admitting to ourselves, just internally inside of our own selves, that we caused harm. Many of us could live in the discomforting place of reckoning forever. But from my experience, when we are able to move through that discomfort to the other side, the rest of the teshuvah process flows easily from there. Psychologists speak of the comfort, stretch, and panic zones. The comfort zone is exactly what it sounds like, a zone of experience in which we feel totally safe and comfortable. By contrast, the panic zone is when we feel so challenged that we perhaps go into shutdown or fight, flight, freeze response. But there's a whole world of possibility between the comfort zone and the panic zone, a world known as the stretch zone. When in the stretch zone, we are uncomfortable, but not to the point of shutdown. What is happening in this zone is new, but there is enough familiarity and protection that we feel safe to push ourselves to grow. I think something about contemporary American society and even contemporary religiosity has left us with the expectation that the world should be our comfort zone. And because of this, we often perceive anything that pushes us mildly beyond our comfort zone as dangerous. We jump straight from comfort to panic with all of the accompanying trauma responses. This year, I'm asking us to slow down. This year, I'm asking us to stretch the muscle that is the stretch zone. And as the Creator in our creation story stretched the skies above the earth, I ask that we stretch the stretch zone wider and wider and wider, making the space between comfort and panic as far as the eye can see. For these are not comforting times, but perhaps we do not have to be afraid. Perhaps if we allow ourselves to truly be with the discomfort, we may just grow. The Al-Chet is not a series of 44 confessions of wrongdoing straight. Rather, we confess 20, and then we pause, and we sing, Ve'al kulam Elohai salichot Selach lanu mechalanu kaper lanu. And then another 12 confessions. Ve'al kulam Elohai salichot Selach lanu mechalanu kaper. final 12 confessions, and then one more time we sing, Ve'al kulam Elohai salichot selach lanu mechalanu kaper lanu. For these, divine entity that is nothing but forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, allow us to make it right. A mantra of sorts, for our sages of old were wise, and they knew far before psychology was even an imaginative possibility that discomfort alone would not transform us. We also need the possibility of redemption. So I invite you to close your eyes. And I ask you, just for today, just for these next 25 hours, when you are feeling uncomfortable, defensive, angry, self-righteous, challenged beyond measure, seeking someone else to blame, when every bone in your body is screaming toward you to turn away, I ask you to ask yourself, what is the mantra that I need that will allow me to teeter on that edge just a little bit longer? What is the mantra that will allow me, through the fear, to turn toward the discomfort, the pain, your own complicity, your own wrongdoing, that will allow you to look directly into the eyes of the true judge that is none but yourself, and soften, and soften, and soften, and soften. For in your eyes, there is redemption. Gamar Chatima Tova. I invite you to open your eyes. So with this task in mind, we turn to the Slichot service, the service that drops us right into our own discomfort, just boop, drops us right down inside of it, and it asks us to allow ourselves to expand. The Slichot service has many parts, but it begins by invoking the sense of compassion and mercy that lives in the universe, and asking that our prayers be heard. We remind the animating force of the universe, and perhaps more so ourselves, of its goodness and of our goodness. And from there, we confess. So we'll begin on page 782 with Ya'aleh, led by Tom Hertz. And you can follow along. The transliteration is not in the book, but you can find it on page 6 of your supplement sheet.
Ya'aleh tachanunenu me'erev ve'yavo shavatenu mi'boker ve'yeroe rinunenu ad orev. Ya'aleh koleinu me'erev ve'yavo tzidkoteinu mi'aboker ve'yeroe rinunenu ad orev. Ya'aleh koleinu me'erev Yishayenu mi boker v'yeroe fidyanenu adorev. Yale inu yeinu me'erev v'yavo slichoteinu mi'aboker v'yeroe na'akoteinu adorev. Yale menuseinu me'erev ve'yavo lemano mi'boker ve'yeroe chiporeinu adorev. Yale yishayenu me'erev ve'yavo tahareinu mi'aboker ve'yeroe chinuneinu adorev. Yale zichroneinu me'erev ve'yavo v'yudeinu mi'aboker ve'yeroe hadrateinu adorev. Yale dafkeinu me'erev ve'yavo gileinu mi'boker ve'yeroe bavakashetatainu adorev. Yale in koteinu me'erev ve'yavo elecha mi'boker ve'yeroe eleinu adorev. Yale en koteinu me'erev ve'yavo elecha mi'aboker ve'yeroe eleinu adorev.
Thank you, Tom. May our prayers rise at evening, and may our cry come forth in the dawn, and may our songs be pleasing throughout the day. We turn to page 794, or in your supplement, page 7 for the transliteration, Adon HaSlichot.
Adon HaSelichot, Bochen Levavot, Kol Amukot.
of forgiveness in the universe, we have missed the mark. Have compassion for us. We turn now to page 810 and we rise in body or spirit as we continue to remind ourselves, but maybe more importantly, remind the universe of its own goodness. Page 812. Slach lanu avinu, ki chatanu, mahalanu, malkeinu ki fashanu, ki ata Adonai, tov v'salach, v'rav chesed, lekol koreicha. Page 814. Just one more petition to ask that our prayers be heard. Shema Koleinu Adonai Eloheinu Husverachem Page 816, bottom paragraph in the Hebrew, only paragraph in the transliteration. So we're now moving from the part of the Slichot service where we lay the groundwork of comfort and safety and support, in which we invoke goodness and mercy, and we're moving to the part where we get uncomfortable, where we acknowledge our wrongdoing. So I invite you in the spirit of discomfort to be fully honest with yourself. Acknowledge, at least to yourself, your own wrongdoing and your own complicity, our own wrongdoing and our own complicity. And allow that sense of fear and awe that overcomes you to begin the transformation toward the good. We turn to the Ashamnu, page 820. With each word, we're traditionally called upon to beat our chest. I do so with an open palm to kind of hold both the discomfort and the comfort simultaneously. I invite you to do as you feel called. Yai dai 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 dai, ai dai 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 dai, ai dai 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 dai. Ashamnu, Baganu, Gazalnu, Dibarnu Dovi, Yai dai 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 dai, Yai dai 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 dai, Yai dai 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 dai. Hevinu, Bahir Shanu, Zanu, Hamasnu, Tefalnu Shakir, Yai dai 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 dai, Yai dai 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 dai, Yai dai 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 dai. Yatsnu Ra, Kizamnu, Latsnu, Maranu, Niatsnu, Sararnu, Avinu, Pashanu, Sararnu, Kishinu Orab, Yai dai 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 dai, Yai dai 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 dai, Yai dai 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 dai. Rashanu, Shichatnu, Tiavnu, Tainu, Titanu, Yai dai 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 dai, Yai dai 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 dai, Ai dai 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 dai. We'll turn to the supplement, page 5, for another version of the Ashamnu, hoping led by some of our amazing members of the ensemble.
Who are we? We're light and truth and infinite wisdom.
seated. So we have a practice at Or Shalom where we gather on Leil Slichot, the Saturday evening before Rosh Hashanah, and we have a Slichot service. We do much of what we're doing here tonight, but one practice we add to it is that we take time to sit down and grapple with who we've been over the past year and to write admissions of our own wrongdoing down on pieces of paper. And then the practice is that we share them aloud here at services as that first, well, it's kind of the second or third step of teshuvah. You've admitted it to themselves, and here they're admitting it to a community of accountability that will help them and in moving past the transgression to the accountability, to the repair, which is reparative for both the person that was harmed and the person who caused harm. And so tonight, instead of doing the traditional I'll say Al Chet Shachatanu Lefanecha, and I'll read a note card. You might find that you too have done many of the things on these cards, and we can hold each other in the accountability. And we'll intersperse our time with our line from the Torah that I gave, which you can find on 8:30. Ve'al kulam Eloha slichot slach lanu machal lanu kaper lanu. So we'll start with some al-chetz. One more note. They will be destroyed, and the ripping of them will kind of send forth the energy of transformation that is needed to go beyond admission to repair. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha. I struggle to accept the love that is offered to me. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha. I have gossiped and shared uncharitable information about my coworkers. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha. I have not shown curiosity toward my mother. And we sing. I have acted only for myself and not for the best interest of my household. I had limited success in influencing my synagogue in a more constructive and fruitful path. I became a member of the board. That might be what it says, I'm not sure. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha. I have chosen to go numb when I could have literally been smelling the flowers. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha. I have not given enough attention to family. I have overcommitted to where I cannot uphold promises nor do a good job with the commitments I have made. continue reading more of these cards throughout Yom Kippur, but for this next round, I'm going to ask you if anyone has something that they want to call out. Not all of you have the opportunity to gather with us on Slichot, so if any of you feel called to call out the admission that maybe you have admitted only to yourself up until this point, and be held in community, who probably won't know who said it anyways, you're invited to do so. So I'll say, Al chet shachatanu lefanecha. Scary. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha. And for this last one, I'll ask everyone to cry out something, because none of us are perfect, and if we say it all together, perhaps it will reach where it needs to reach, and yet be maintained in anonymity just for a little while longer. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha. For thinking that I am better than others. And we sing. Just to hold ourselves in a little bit more compassion, we turn to page 7. Parachamana, may the source of compassion rain down that compassion on all of us oppressed, on all of us afflicted, on all of us brokenhearted. Ra compassion rain down. I would love to now invite up Jolie and Jody, oh, that's nice, to read us a reading. For on Shabbat, we don't pray the words of Avinu Malkeinu in Hebrew, but maybe we can relate to them in another way.
O source and deep inner guide, we have let ourselves move from the truth. O Mother, our guide on the way, let our darkness be illuminated with light. O Father, our nurturing guide, help us to find inner peace.
Our source and our deep inner guide, may we find you in all things. O Mother, our nurturing guide, please let us learn to be healed. O Father, our guide on the way, help us to heal our world.
Our source and our deep inner guide, we know we are infinite being. Our Father, our nurturing guide, we know too that we are but dust. Our Mother, our guide on the way, please make yourself known through us.
Our source and our deep inner guide, forgive us for the suffering we inflict. O Father, our guide on the way, renew for us now a good year. O Mother, our nurturing guide, may we open to compassion within.
Thank you both so much for bringing in the spirit of Avinu Malkeinu. So we are moving to the part of our service where we pray for healing of mind and body and spirit, of all those in our life in need of healing, and in all those whom we're thinking of who maybe we don't know directly, but too are in need of such deep healing in this time. So Rabbi Meira we're going to sing a song. You can find it on page 2 in your supplement sheet. The words are simple. Please God, heal her, heal us, heal them, heal him. I have it for you. We'll sing a little bit, and then we'll read a list of those in our community who are in need of healing. And then I'll invite anyone else who would like to share the names of those in their lives who are in need of healing to do so as well. We'll begin with song.
Basema Alababsa, Diane Oven, Jeff Balch, Layla and the rest of the Barrage family, Bruce Baron, Judy Blay, Adria Blum, Leah Burian, Joan Cabanos, Carol Clark, Jarrett Cole, Michelle Cole, Amy Conger, Casey Connor, Danielle Bendoba Vachaim, Gareth Engler, Osha Hanfling, Hadassah Bat Hana Ba'eli Eleanor, Rabbi Maurice Harris, Joseph Herbert, Roz Idelson, Cleus Jensen, Via Linder, Tom Levy, Heidi Layton, Carl Magruder, Marion Mandel, Elaine Mannon, Judith McCulloch, Jenny Moss, Harry O'Brien, Bryna Rivkind, Mary Rogero, Claire Ronzani, Audrey Rosenheim, John Rosenheim, Gail Sabin, Jean Schlesinger and family, Nader Shabahanji, Phyllis Thurm, Amy Trachtenberg, Stephen Tobias, Natan Ben-Lev Amerale, John Vrolik, Nancy Wortman, Linda Zaretsky, and all those who've been injured in wars abroad.
Now I'll invite, if any of you have a name to share, feel free to do so as I pass my hand around the room. May they find healing of mind and body and spirit. May we find healing of mind and body and spirit. And may our world find healing of mind and body and spirit. So we've reached the moment where we call in those who have passed away. We remember those who are with us in our hearts, but not with us on this plane of existence anymore. This week at Or Shalom, we are recognizing the recent losses of Louise Gross and Tim Campbell, and we are in the season of the Yartzites, the anniversary of the passings of Mark Garcia, Elizabeth Summer, Joseph Benjamin Gavrin, Sam Pinto, Sandy Siegel, William Schulman, Fred Avriel, Bruce Budnick, Sylvia Stein, Leonard Rudolph, Peter Shim, Roger Henry Rifkind, Sunny Fine, Michelle Kallman, Richard Sheehan, Tony Fox, Yeshaya Grama, Saul Winchell, Rose Thurm, and Richard Denholtz. And we are also thinking of all those who've been killed in that over a year of violence in Israel and Palestine and Lebanon. We hold them all close. And if there are any names that you would like to share, I invite you to do so now. So if it is your custom or you're in mourning or observing a yahrzeit, we'll turn to page 1216 for the recitation of the Mourner's Kaddish. I'll invite you to rise in body or spirit if any of those apply to you. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach yeroteh ve'almich malchuteh, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dachol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei almaya. Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitramam, v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei dekudesha, brechu, le'ela, le'ela, mikol birchata, v'shirata, tushbachata, v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'yamru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya, B'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru, amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'asei shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimru, amen. May their memories be for a blessing. May they find peace, and may their memories bring us toward peace. And to sing to ourselves, to hold ourselves in the grief and in the pain, we sing the words of Psalm 27 on your supplement, page 2, a prayer that asks us that when things are hard, we turn toward one another and we hold one another. Psalm 27, bottom of page 2. Even in our deepest pain, we have one another. So I have just very few announcements before we close together in connection. Tomorrow, please join us back here at 10 a.m. for our Yom Kippur services that will run all of the morning and into the afternoon. Childcare is available if you need it. After, we have a whole afternoon of workshops and offerings. So beginning at 1:45, the different Tikkun Olam groups in the congregation will be kind of presenting their ideas for how they can engage in their work of Tikkun Olam in the coming year, and are asking for your feedback and your support. And so we'll hear from the Dayenu group, which is a group working toward climate justice, the Social Action Circle, which is working toward many things, but a lot of them specific to San Francisco, showing up for refugees, immigrants, houseless folks, and beyond. And our group that is working toward a ceasefire in the ongoing violence in Israel and Palestine. And so you'll hear from all three of those groups, and then you're welcome to join those groups in rotation to talk more with them about their vision and to add your vision to their vision. After that, at 3:15, we'll have some gentle yoga led by Gail Gerwitz to kind of let yourself relax. And at 4:15, we'll have a healing service, which is a service in which we ask for healing for ourselves. And so if you're looking for healing for yourself of mind or body or spirit, please join us for this healing service at 4:15. And then those will all be in other rooms around this building, but at 5:45, we'll join back here in the sanctuary for Yisker, the service for all the deceased in our lives. So if there's someone for whom you're in mourning, we invite you to join us for Yisker. And then Ne'ilah, the closing of the gates, the ending of Yom Kippur, which is one of the most beautiful experiences of my life every year. So please join us for Ne'ilah at 6:30 here in the sanctuary, followed by a break fast in the courtyard at 7:30. So that is our whole day tomorrow. We hope you can join us for the whole or the part. Gamar Tov, everyone. We'll close together with our closing benediction on page 5 of your supplement sheet. For this, we all take hands. So I invite you to rise in body or spirit and connect to someone around you with consent and with love, and we'll all be connected to close out together. Wait, what page? I said the wrong page. Let me find the right page. Page 9 in your supplement sheet. May the blessings of God rest upon you. May God's peace abide with you. May God's presence illuminate your heart now and forevermore. May the blessings of God rest upon you. May God's peace abide with you. May God's presence illuminate your heart now and forevermore. Gamar Chatima Tova. May we all be sealed in the book of life. Shabbat.